everyone, today I want to talk about Shadow Tide in adventure mode, and this is mostly for DPS and healers. I am going to show some tank point of view as well, but it's going to be mostly that. There's a center section with statues. I have a separate video I will link in the description if you are looking specifically for information on the statue phase. Okay, so first off, you want the tank to pull the boss and have it face away from the DPS and healers. So you'll notice our DPS and healers are standing behind, towards where we walked in, and they all kind of pile up right together. Now, avoid this yellowed cone of damage, which is why you want the boss facing away from you. And then we're going to go ahead and go with the first mechanic. So up here, we're about to get circles around us. And for us, we want to move the blue circles are going to go off to the left and the orange circles are going to go to the right. It's just to split sides. You'll notice that once you do that, you get a buff around you. So here, Pip has a blue ice energy debuff. And she is going to want to share damage with the fire side. So you go for the opposite color. Here I'm going to be standing in this orange share damage. On the other side of me there might be a blue share damage. And so you want to make sure if you have a fire buff that you share with the blue side. So splitting up like this puts you already at the correct markers for where you share damage. Melee classes are harder to use in this raid. As you notice, we were pretty far out. Part of that is because during the share damage, we got that yellow circle around the boss where you had to move back before you move back in again. So it's just easier if you have more range ability in this particular fight. All right, so we're going to continue to DPS the boss here until this next mechanic. Again, the seeds, if you are fire, you're going to go off to the right. If you are ice, you're going to go to the left. So here, Pip has the fire debuff in her screen, and she's going to come over and stand on this orange marker, where if we get a sheer damage, it will be a blue sheer damage. We did not get that phase. We are going now to the phase with the statues and the eyes. During this phase, if you are on mechs, you're going to move like the top screen to the statues, and you are going to get a yellow seed around you, and you're going to share that seed by passing it to activate the statues. So I have the video on statue phase if you need it. If you are not on statues, you want to DPS these eyeballs like Pip is doing below. And if you get a yellow line around you, avoid having that yellow line go over a statue because it could kill the statue. All right, so up above we are passing the seed, and I'm going to go ahead and stop that section and allow you to watch where we're DPSing the eyeballs and focusing on those. Actually, before I do that, you can see down below I have this Light of Hope buff. It's the yellow top one. And if I have that buff because I shared the seed, I passed the seed, I want to go run around and block these purple orbs that are coming off these crystals. I have an immunity to them, so if I block those orbs like that, it will stop those at least from hitting somebody else and possibly killing them. So to lessen those orbs, just block them. While below with Pip, we are just DPSing the eyes. Okay, for this section, I'm going to let it go a little faster. All Pip is doing is kind of staying in one section of the room and going to DPS any eyes that she sees. So here, once the eyeballs start to spawn, you destroy them. If you don't, they'll do those yellow lines from the eyes to the statues. And if the lines over, they go over the statues, it can break the statue and you'll wipe the raid. You can see the line there and it's usually connected to somebody with red text over their head. All right, I think this seed is just about at the last statue with the moon. You can see it in the corner there. Afterwards, after it passes, we're going to go right back into the original location to begin DPSing the boss again. And here you can see that he is now active again, at which point he does a frontal cone AoE. So if you are a tank, just make sure you're pointing that boss away from the raid so that he doesn't wipe the raid with the front AoE. All right, now we're going to have the seeds up again next. The boss is going to move over to the corner, and that is because we want to split again the seeds, orange to the right and blue to the left. And you're going to get that buff on you again, and now is the meteor phase. Let me see. Okay, so you can see that there's a blue meteor right there, a circle on the floor. Pip has a fire buff, and so you want to go with the opposite color, just like you did with the sheer damage. She can, with the fire buff, she can block the blue meteor. Everyone needs to be in circles, and then it will continue. Now there's going to be fire and ice balls that spawn. Just be careful not to run into them. So we can take a couple of buffs here. So here we have 2 stacks of ice, and then you can touch a fire. And then some more, so you're going to want to get rid of them. So you can do 2 stacks of fire. You just don't want to get too many stacks. Like about 3 is probably not a good idea. 4 definitely is probably going to start to kill the raid. So once you get some of the ice stacks, you can get the fire. If you have more of one than the other, you can do that. If you're really having a problem, you could do every other. But as you can see here, we're just popping these. Usually there's somebody specific assigned to that. So here we're going to get the ice one, and across the room they'll get the fire one, and then all of those orbs will be done. Now we're going to continue to DPS the boss again until this next phase. So here we're just going to go ahead and DPS. Up next, we're going to get the seeds around us again. So we're going to have the orange go to the right again, and the blue go to the left. So here we're splitting. Again, you can see that the orange is going to go to the right. That's the fire buff on the screen that she has. In this middle section, it's followed by another round of meteors. So look around. You can see there's a fire circle next to Pip, but she cannot block that because she does not have an ice buff. And then we actually end up skipping this phase. You can see that there's still some people in there. That's fine, but the eyes have appeared around the outside. And we are going to go ahead and turn and DPS the eyes and pass that seed around again. Now again, if you are a tank, you're going to be starting off that meteor phase. If you are not a tank and you are not in the top row of people who are doing the seed phase, we're just going to try and move these lines away from the statues, and we're going to DPS the eyeballs around the outside of the room. So again, if you're looking for what to do with the statue phase, please check the description. I will have a link in there for the statue phase video. But otherwise, you're going to try and avoid these darker purple orbs that are floating around, and you're going to DPS the eyes as you find them. You will take damage just over time during this phase, and so make sure you spread your healers out across the room. We have usually maybe 4 healers, 1 in each section. That's if we're running with 14 people. If you run with 14 people, it is easier than if you run it with 25. So if you're running it with 14, just make sure you get it really balanced well. We usually do 2 tanks and 3 or 4 healers, and the rest DPS. Otherwise, you're going to want a full raid of 25, and make sure you have at least 4 healers to spread it out, and 2 tanks. Tanks, you're going to switch at 8 stacks during this. There is a tank video I have for adventures, so if you need to have some more information on what to do as a tank, then check the adventure video that I have for tanks. Otherwise, you're going to continue to DPS these eyes until this seed has been passed to everyone, and it continues on to the next phase. Once the seed gets to the last statue, which it's going there right now, you can move towards the middle again. Again, just watch these crystals, try to be careful to avoid them. And then you're going to start DPSing the boss in the center again. And DPS and heals stand behind the boss. Now for this third phase, we're kind of combining all of the mechs from the first 2. So we've got the seeds, these circles around you, blue to the left and orange to the right. Next, we're going to get the big yellow circle around the boss. So make sure you move out to avoid the circle. Wait a second before moving in for the animation to go, and then you can move back in. So here's the circle. wait a second, and in this case we're going to share damage. Since Pip has a ice buff, she's going to stand in the orange share damage circle. Now you be careful for the tanks. If after the circle there'll be one of those cone AoEs, so you don't want the boss to face the group. Alright, now we're going to have the seeds again. We're going to move out to the left for the blue, and the orange goes to the right. After this, we have a meteor phase. So we're going to have the circles around the room that are blue. You can see one in the back corner, and there's going to be orange ones as well. So if you have a orange fire buff, stand in a blue circle. Otherwise, if you have a fire buff, stand in a blue circle, and a ice buff, stand in an orange circle. So you're going to do opposites for those. Now go back in and be careful, because around the room are going to spawn all these balls. Now again, we're going to knock them out. Only like one or two people will be, well, a couple people will be assigned to this. So here Pip is going to grab 2 of these orange balls. This is followed by a blue ball to remove the orange fire buff. Now Pip is going to wait to pop 2 many more of those blue balls until someone gets the orange fire ones on the other side. Make sure to continue to DPS the boss and watch out for these circles in the center of the room. The mechs are going to continue to move on, and she just grabbed the last of the blue balls. Now you're going to be followed by another round of seeds. And then probably the share damage, because the mechs are going to continue between the share damage and the meteors in the 3rd phase. So first phase is just the share damage and seeds. Here we have the seeds again. The second phase is the seeds and the meteors with the balls that you have to get rid of. And then the 3rd phase are the seeds, and then share damage, and then seeds and meteors. So that is how those sections go. Hopefully you found this helpful, and thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Pip for recording this so that I could share it with you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day.